Ohio State is building something huge, as today we have multiple players committing in the transfer portal and someone sticking around who was already on the roster, but we're happy to have him back and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State Buckeye football fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today. Starting off with one of our guys, Kenyatta Jackson, a defensive lineman for the Buckeyes. He announced that he is sticking around with the program. He will not be entering the NFL draft this season. If you look him up on NFL mock draft database, there were actually multiple mock drafts from highly reputable sources, such as CBS Sports, that had him mocked as a first-round draft pick. So it is amazing to see Kenyatta Jackson bringing it back to run it back with the Ohio State Buckeyes. I love bringing a player on for another season like this because, one, look at Indiana. One of the reasons why they're so good is because their players are older than a lot of the other players that they're matched up against. Age is a factor, especially in the trenches when you can just be a bigger human being. You got more time in the weight room when you are older. Also, Kenyatta Jackson can teach some of the younger players in Ohio State's defense how Matt Patricia's defense works. We lost a ton of players to the NFL after winning the championship 2 seasons ago. Now, this year, we're also facing more attrition at the defensive line. So it's tough every single year to keep replacing that amount of defensive talent leaving the building. Kenyatta Jackson is going to be able to help teach some of the new guys what is going on, and some of the older players coming to the Buckeyes via the transfer portal, such as John Walker coming over from UCF. Kenyatta Jackson can help him learn Matt Patricia's scheme so everyone could be on the same page defensively. Last time we spoke to each other was 2 nights ago, Wednesday night, where we talked about Cameron Calhoun out of Alabama and whether or not he was going to commit to the Ohio State Buckeyes. It hadn't been announced to the general public yet that he was even going to take the visit. Thursday morning, it was announced that Cameron Calhoun was going to take that visit to Ohio State. He has now committed. Also in that video, that video was really about rumors, which I don't love covering, but my sources were correct as we pretty much nailed everything that we were talking about in that video. One of the other players we were talking about 49 hours ago was Connor Hawkins out of Baylor, the kicker. He is also committed to the Ohio State Buckeyes. And then the guy that I'm hearing the most buzz about today is going to be the wide receiver who committed to the Buckeyes just a couple hours ago. That is Kyle Parker. Kyle Parker used to play for LSU, which means you may have put the breadcrumbs together that the new wide receivers coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes is Cortez Hankton, who used to coach the last couple seasons at LSU. So you would expect he would be able to bring some of those talented backup LSU wide receivers to Ohio State because we were facing attrition in the wide receiver room. We were losing 2 of our guys actually to Notre Dame and losing some more guys when our wide receivers coach, Brian Hartline, decided to take the head coaching job at UCF or USF. I say decided like it wasn't an obvious decision. Rooting for our guy, Brian Hartline, but it's not good for the program because you lose the continuity and we lose one of the best recruiters that we had going, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But we are now showing that we are able to still recruit wide receivers in. Taking a look at what we have in the recruiting profile of Kyle Parker coming over from LSU. He stands 5 feet 11 inches, weighing 195 pounds, coming in as a 3-star transfer recruit, according to 24/7 Sports, graded as an 87 overall. The 327th highest rated player in the transfer portal, which is good for the 65th highest ranked wide receiver. Now, the thing that I was questioning about Kyle Parker was we just picked up Cortez Hankton from LSU, and usually when a player, the guy that recruited them, leaves and goes somewhere else, if that guy doesn't follow that recruiter to the new school, especially when the new school is a school that needs that kind of player, you worry if your new hire is not able to do that. So I was getting a little bit worried if the Buckeyes were not able to land Kyle Parker, I know Cortez Hankton has recruited some high-level recruits from back in the day at Georgia, but I was getting a little bit worried if Kyle Parker did not end up transferring to Ohio State. It's like maybe fairly or unfairly as it may have been, I was going to actually start questioning Cortez Hankton's ability to recruit. But we do have to remember, this is the guy who recruited George Pickens to Georgia. He also recruited Cedric Wilson to Georgia, who was the starting left guard for the New England Patriots this season. If you didn't know who he was a very good player. He also recruited Lewis Cine, who was a first-round pick to the Minnesota Vikings a couple seasons ago, recruited him to Georgia. So Cortez Hankton has a great history in recruitment and now continues to show that he's still got it, at this stage of his career, bringing Kyle Parker into the program at Ohio State. Love to get some depth at the wide receiver room. You always need more because, guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to get tired. You have to make sure you have depth at that position. But now more players also committed to the program today. Let's talk about Dominick Kelly. As Ohio State picks up another defensive back, Dominick Kelly, it was announced that he would transfer to the Buckeyes just a couple hours after Cameron Calhoun. However, we hadn't fully broken down his profile, so I'd like to put him up on the screen here. Dominick Kelly is a 6'1", 190-pound cornerback from Georgia. I love the height when it comes to corners. You like the taller cornerbacks because the taller cornerbacks are usually guys that have longer arms as well, and they can swat away balls from farther away. They're able to be more physical with wide receivers, and overall, as long as you're not sacrificing speed and agility, of course, the taller players is the way you want to go. They are also less likely to be picked on in jump ball situations. Also, if we play against LSU, if you got tall, you need a tall player to match up with Trey'Dez Green. That guy's an absolute monster. As a transfer, according to 24/7 Sports, Dominick Kelly has been rated as a 3-star transfer and 89 overall in the transfer portal, the 182 ranked recruit. The number that you can get really excited for is he's the 10th overall cornerback transfer in the portal. So that is exciting as it comes to our defensive back group. Coming out of the transfer portal, we got Earl Little Jr., the safety over from Florida State. We have Terry Moore, the safety coming over from Duke. We have Cameron Calhoun, the nickelback, safety / corner. I believe they're calling him a corner, although my sources who were right on everything else called him a safety originally. I believe that Calhoun will be a nickel, most likely not a starter. He's going to probably just fill in wherever we need the help. But that is 4, and then you add Dominick Kelly to that group. 4 defensive backs in the transfer portal, helping bring our overall transfer portal recruitment number of the guys into 16, which is awesome to see. Started off a little bit slow early on in the transfer portal. We were ranked pretty low because we just were not bringing in enough names. But Dominick Kelly adds to that defensive back room, a room that was seeing the loss of Lorenzo Styles and Davidson Igmanosin. So we needed to restock that room a little bit. And I'm very happy to see that Ryan Day has been hitting the portal hard to go find veteran players to fill those positions. Let's talk about our final guy here. This was a rumor that I heard a long time ago from a source that was not that credible. Threw it in a video because I said, why not? And they absolutely hit the nail on the head. Jacoby Jackson has also transferred to the Ohio State Buckeyes, adding to our absolutely decimated running back room. Coming in as a running back, 5 feet tall, 5 feet, 10 and a half inches tall. That's how a normal person should say it. 214 pounds. So you like that height weight ratio. This is a goal line type of back. Ohio State's goal line / red zone rushing offense wasn't good enough. You absolutely love to see this get added in the transfer portal. This was a box that we needed to check off. We needed pretty much anything that was going to help our red zone offense, whether that be a goal line back, which is the box we're checking here, or offensive lineman, which I'm sure is what is next up on the docket for Ohio State in the transfer portal. So stay tuned for those updates. But as a transfer, according to 24/7 Sports, being graded out as a 3-star and 88 overall. the 20th ranked running back in the transfer portal and 237th overall player. Don't be too down on the fact that he's only the 20th highest rated running back in the portal. This was more of a fit thing than just an overall go get the best possible running back that you can find. Bo Jackson is already a good runner. He's coming back to the Ohio State. Now we are adding someone who is going to have a big impact in goal line situations, and that is exactly what we're going to be getting in Jacoby Jackson. So, a ton of players coming over to Ohio State, today and yesterday, and we're going to keep breaking these, rumors down, stuff behind the scenes. Anytime there's a new update, we'll be here to break that down. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Buckeyes.